Hey guys. I always say hey guys. Somebody asked me the other day, why do you always say that? Because I'm not talking to myself. Or at least I don't think I am. Maybe I am. I don't know. But I'm going live on Facebook and then I post it on YouTube and you watch it, so I'm not talking to myself. So, I wanted to pop on tonight, one, because I'm not sleeping, because I had chemo today. And one of my pre-meds is steroids. So it makes me not sleep sometimes. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about breast cancer and the reality of it, because today was a hard day. Chemo's never fun. But it wasn't a hard day necessarily for me. Like, I'm doing okay and decent. I look good. I need to color my hair and figure out what I'm doing with that. But other than that, it's a little crazy trying to figure out what it's going to do with these curls. But getting off topic again, rambling as usual. But there's some very hard realities when you have breast cancer and you get that diagnosis, and it doesn't, in my mind personally, so this is my personal opinion, it doesn't matter if you're a stage 1 or a stage 4. It just changes your treatment plan. And it changes the reality that you have to live in with your family. And it changes how fast you get to go through the journey or how slow and how long it lasts. So good morning, if it's morning where you're at. The things that we don't talk about, though, is probably a lot of it. Most of it's the really shitty shit. And when I say that, I'm very blessed to have gone through this journey, because it has given me the ability to help people. And the reason I say that is I know multiple women that have gone and gotten mammograms and gotten their tatas checked, and they may not have in any other situation, because I wanted to believe that my lump was a clogged milk duct, and it wasn't. And today was a hard day because I have a friend that also has breast cancer, and hers is a little bit worse than mine, and I knew her before my breast cancer, and today she had her surgery. And I pray that she's okay. I haven't heard yet, but I pray and I know that she's going to be okay. Hers was stage 4, and it had metastasized through her body. And if you don't know what that means that it's no longer just a lump in your breast. That means that it's all over your body, and that it's harder to treat and localize and fully get rid of. So you may have to have other parts of your body removed. Not only was she undergoing a mastectomy today, a bilateral mastectomy. I don't know where my tissues are. Not only was she going through a bilateral mastectomy, she was also having a hysterectomy because it had affected her reproductive organs too. A lot of women that have breast cancer have to have that done. And a lot of people, I don't know, I don't think we just don't talk about it. And then I got a call from a woman that I met 2 years ago, and she's become one of my dear friends. However, we have a love-hate relationship, and I say that because we're both very stubborn women, and we have no problem telling each other how it is. But we talk to each other and we get through it when we are being stubborn. But she had her results today from her mastectomy. Not mastectomy, I'm sorry. Her biopsy. She scheduled a mammogram because I shared my story. And she's a little bit older than I am. And she hadn't had a mammogram in 15 years. And she couldn't feel a lump. But she went and got her mammogram and then found out that there was a lump. And then she had the biopsy. And she got her diagnosis today. And I'm praying that it has not metastasized. Right now they're saying she's only a stage 1, but the way they figure out your stages and whatnot is they go off of the size of the lump. They go off of how fast it's growing. And they go off of a lot of factors to determine what stage you are. And it was a hard day because I know what they're both going through to a certain extent. Now, my journey's not theirs, so I can empathize and I can relate. But it'll be different for them than it was for me, or is for me. And then also, I scheduled my first mammogram after surgery, which I will have next Thursday on the 19th. And I'll have my first mammogram after surgery on the 19th. And I'm nervous and I'm scared because what if we didn't get it all? I hope that we did. In my heart, I know that we did. But there's always that little bit of what if. So you wonder, are we coming to the tail end or are we starting all over again? And I won't know till I get those results. So there's that. And then if you have a mastectomy or a lumpectomy, whatever you have, if you have breast augmentation, a reduction, implants, whatever you choose for you, that's a process. It's something for you to get used to. And some people suffer from what they call body dysphoria. So I very much suffer from that. I don't know how much you guys know, but I had very large breasts. And I chose to get a lumpectomy. I did a lot of research, and that was the choice that I made for me. But I chose to get a lumpectomy, and then I got a massive reduction. And I don't feel like me, and it's going to take me a while to adjust. And we don't talk about that, and we don't talk about the scars that it puts on your body. And don't get me wrong, I wear those puppies like a badge, but they take some getting used to. And you don't talk about the mental strain that it goes on you, and you don't talk about what it does to your family. And we don't talk about the therapy you have to go through, or the support groups you join, which are amazing, full of amazing women going through the same thing you are. And you don't talk about the things that are said to you by loved ones. And they don't mean to hurt. Sometimes they're just being honest about their feelings. And you have to take it with a grain of salt because you know they're just trying to get through it just like you are. And you don't talk about the expense. Holy crap, the expense. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of it's covered by insurance, and I'm very blessed in that sense. However, the gas that it takes to get to all the appointments, the time that you spend in the doctor's offices, the going back and forth, all of these things you don't talk about. And I was very touched today because I knew for the first time in a long time what I'm doing is right. The fact that I'm sharing my journey and my story, it's the best thing I could do. Because when this friend called me to tell me her diagnosis, I was one of the first people she called. And we talked for about 40 minutes. And she said, thank you. And I said, for what? I didn't do anything. And she said, but you did. In a way, you saved my life. And I was like, how is that even possible? She's like, because if you wouldn't have shared your story and your journey with your breast cancer, I would have never went and got checked. And in that moment, I just said thank you. But the more and more I thought about it, it's crazy to think how you don't even know you're helping people. And it doesn't have to be through breast cancer. It could just be you smiling at somebody. You don't know how that's going to change their world. It could just you be responsive to someone talking to you. You picked up the phone that day. You sent a text message. You said hi to a stranger in a grocery store. You called a friend you hadn't talked to in a while. You reached out because you saw someone hurting because of a post on Facebook or Instagram. We all go through very hard things. And we have to choose whether we want to share them or not. This particular thing I chose to share because I felt like I could help people. And I have people that ask me, like, why? Why do you put yourself out there? Why do you stay on social media? Why do you do these things? Because I do. I come on and rant and I vent about certain things. And I do it because I know I'm helping people. I do it because there's so much more good than there is the bad. But that doesn't mean that the bad doesn't get to you sometimes. I do it because of unfortunate events. I was put extremely in the public eye, and I made a choice. I sat down with my husband and we had a conversation about it, and I made a choice. You can request a mammogram at any time with your doctor. They recommend them at age 40 to start getting them, but you can actually ask to have them sooner than that, especially if you have something suspicious or you feel that there's something wrong. A lot of people think there's pain involved in cancer, and I'm not speaking for all cancers because I don't know, but there was no pain involved with my lump. I had no idea. It was just a lump. I had a baby, my milk came in, and I had a lump, and the lump rapidly grew very fast. Within 3 weeks, it had tripled in size. And at that time, I wasn't necessarily taking care of me because I was taking care of Jackson, because Jackson was in the hospital from heart surgery. And I have a lot of people that judge, and I don't care, judge me, like me, hate me, I don't care. Because I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to do my lives. Don't get me wrong, I take breaks sometimes because it does get a little bit overwhelming. But I'm going to continue to do them, and I'm going to take the breaks and do self-care when I need to do self-care. So, if you have the redness and the pain, I still would go get checked. Just because you don't feel it doesn't mean it's not there. Like I said, the gal that called me today, she didn't feel a lump. She had no idea. She actually has very, very small breasts. So the fact that she had a lump, like, it can be located a place. Like they told me with mine, because it was located at 12 o'clock right behind my nipple. Had my milk not come in because my breasts were so large, it would have taken me a very long time to find it. And it's very highly possible that it would have killed me before I did. So in essence, my son saved my life. Both of my boys have saved my life. I came on here to talk about breast cancer, but Nicholas saved my life when he was 11, and he could talk about domestic violence things and the things we don't talk about with that too. There was an altercation between me and my ex-husband, and I didn't call the cops, and I should have. And I was afraid, which many people, men or women that are in that situation, are afraid to report it because they think they're going to get in trouble. We tend to blame ourselves and think that we did something wrong. So there was an altercation between me and my ex, and I did not call the cops. And he was very, 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 very intoxicated. But my son, Nicholas, witnessed the whole thing. And he went to school the next day and he told. That's how he saved me. He told. And then other parties got involved, like DHS and the police, and we went down the path that we needed to. I filed for divorce 4 days later. But Nicholas saved my life when he was 12. I feel like that's saving my life. I couldn't do what I needed to do for me, so he did it. And I very much appreciate and love him for that. And then Jackson, I wouldn't have found my breast cancer if it wasn't for Jackson. I think what could happen. And I know I get on these damn things and I cry, and there's nothing freaking wrong with crying. There's not. It's a release of emotions. And I've had people say, you're suffering from PTSD. You're right, I am. But I go to therapy. My therapist tells me the same thing. Another thing that I do for self-care. So, yeah, you have scars, and you can suffer from so many different things, and it's not just a physical altercation, it's a mental altercation because it's a trauma that you have to go through, and it takes time to heal. And tonight I was literally laying in bed thinking, I wish I could go to sleep. I don't know when I'm going to go to sleep because of the steroids. So I decided to come talk to you all. I really wish I knew where my Kleenex is. Oh, they're over there. Hang on 1 second. I'm much better now. And I don't know. Like I said, I just wanted to come on and talk about some of the things that people don't talk about that we probably should. maybe if we talked more about the scary stuff, the world wouldn't be so scary. Just my thoughts. And I know a lot of us don't talk about our past or the bad things that have happened in our life. Like anxiety. Let's talk about anxiety for a second. I didn't know I suffered from anxiety until Jolie was 9. So she's 13 now, so 4 years ago. I had a panic attack. Actually, I had a couple. This is going to sound silly, but my daughter got lice. There's a misconception with lice, too. Lice does not like dirty hair, likes really clean hair. So people always think if your children get lice, that you're dirty and your house is not clean. Not true. But we had moved from Greeley to Firestone to move in with my current husband. We were dating at the time. We'd been dating for a year. And Jolie got lice. And she didn't realize like how bad it was until they like started hatching and whatnot. And I remember cleaning her hair and like out her room so we could like, clean everything to make sure we got it all. And I had a panic attack. And I'd never had one before. I thought I was having a heart attack. It was one of the most scariest things ever. And my son, again, Nicholas, called my grandmother and said, "You need to talk to Mom. I can't get her to calm down. I'm going to have to call 911. So my grandmother like talked me off of my ledge and got me breathing normal again because I was literally hyperventilating and I couldn't breathe because the thought of me getting lice scared the crap out of me. Not because it was lice. Well, lice is, don't take this the wrong way, but it's disgusting. Not because she was doing anything. It's just, I personally think it's disgusting. Like, it's bugs. I don't like bugs. So that was part of the problem. Like, I literally don't like bugs. I freak out if there's a spider. I finally got to the point where I can kill them myself, but I just don't like spiders. I don't like bugs. So they had already, like, hatched. So I was, cleaning out her hair with the lice medication that we went and got and was having a panic attack. I didn't know what it was. And then after that happened, I continued to have panic attacks. And to this day, I still have them. And I have flares. It comes and it goes. Where I was going with that, though, is it was scary. Like, really scary. Because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I know lice is a hair parasite. I'm a hairdresser. I know exactly what lice is. I'm very trained on what lice is. And I wasn't meaning that in a rude way to answer that, but I do know that. But I had a panic attack because I'm a hairdresser. And at that time, I was overseeing 14 hair salons in northern Colorado. And I knew what if I got lice meant. So, and I had really long hair. It was like down here at this time. And literally, if I would have gotten the lice, I would have shaved my head. Like back then. Would have just got rid of it. So because they really like they like the warm parts. So they really like behind your ears and the nape of your neck. Especially in long hair. So I was freaking out a little bit because if I got it, that means I had to take time off work. And I couldn't afford to take time off work. And then I would, you'd go down the spiral. Like, you just start thinking of all the negative and the bad things, and you can't, like, stop it, and then you start panicking, and then your breathing takes over, and it's crazy. So that was the first one 4 years ago. And then, I definitely had more anxiety along the way, but where it's peaked is different tragedies that have happened in my life. So, like, obviously when Shanann and the girls passed, it reared its ugly head again, full force. A couple times out of my life, I've had to be put on medication for it. I'm currently on a medication for my anxiety. It was one of the first things they prescribed to you. I don't know if all oncologists do this, but it was one of my first things they gave me when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, because they said, this is going to bring up a lot of feelings, emotions. There's things you're not going to know what to do, and it could cause anxiety and panic attacks. And it has multiple times. So I take anxiety medicine when I need to. And it's the weirdest thing because it comes in so many different forms. It could just be tightness in your chest. You could feel like someone's sitting on your chest. You start breathing to where you hyperventilate. It's a scary thing. Anxiety is a scary, scary thing. So that's a wonderful blessing from breast cancer. That helped it rear its ugly head again. And yeah, Scarlett, like, you can get anxiety all the time. It doesn't, like, you don't know your triggers sometimes. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It's definitely been worse, and why I haven't been going live and talking as much, because the last 6 weeks have been hard. I literally feel like I transported 2 years ago. And everything that I didn't deal with, and I pushed down way, way far because I wasn't ready to deal with it. It's rearing its ugly head, and I'm having no choice but to deal with it now. Because I cannot be ostrich and stick my head in the sand. Like, I can't. So, yes, I have tried CBD oils and other things. And some things work, some things don't. So, yes, I watch Grey's Anatomy all the time. One of my favorite shows. And I am, Carrie, I'm okay. I'm just talking. Because I can't sleep. Steroids. Lovely thing. And my nose is running because it's cold. It's like 25 degrees here in Colorado tonight. So, I just thought it was appropriate to talk about things that people don't want to talk about because they're scary. I have PTSD for many reasons, many things that have happened in my life. So when somebody messaged me and says, I think you're suffering from PTSD, I'm like, duh, what was your first clue? I generally am not like that, though. I don't respond negatively. Don't get me wrong. I have typed out a many messages and curse words and bad things to say to people because my grandmother, God rest her soul, is no longer with us. She was like my mother, but I loved her so much. She was my baby's friend. I talked to her every day. She taught us to fight fiercely with our words. She literally could make you she could hurt you so much with her words, and she didn't do it often, but when she needed to, she did. But she literally could make you lie on the ground in fetal position, bawling your eyes out, just with her words. And she taught that to all of her children and her grandchildren that she raised like children. So, I can fight with my words, but I also choose not to. Because I've done that many a times in my life and it didn't get me anywhere. But believe me, when I need to, I can. I can very much defend myself. I'm also a little scrapper too. I know I don't look like much, but I can fight with the best of them. I have 7 brothers and 2 sisters, and I learned how to fight like a boy, if that says anything. So there's that. I don't even know how long I've been on here. There needs to be a timer of how long you're talking for. There really does. Yes, I'm okay, Grace. I'm okay. I just popped on because I can't sleep because I have steroids in my system because I had chemo today. And I thought I'd come on and talk about shit that nobody wants to talk about. Am I a genius? No, I'm not. Do I know everything? No, absolutely not. I just have my opinions, and sometimes my opinions help people, so I like to share them. I've been on for 30 minutes. Holy crap. It's not funny, but it kind of is. Do I have an Italian background? I'm kind of a mutt, not gonna lie. I think my family descendants are in like Scotland and Germany, but like we have people from all over. My maiden name is, it's a funny story. So my maiden name is Atkinson. My married name is Atkinson. Not because I kept my maiden name, but my husband's last name is Atkinson. And before everybody goes there, we did the whole family tree. We did all of the things. We are not related. People can't have the same last name and not be related. So it was interesting when I met him because when I got divorced, it'd been 9 months to a year. I was 31, and my dad's like, you need to start dating again. My dad, of all people. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm good. Happy just being me and my kids. And I really was. I was happy being just me and my kids because I didn't have to answer to anybody. I could go home and watch what I wanted. Wasn't fighting with anybody but my kids. I could eat what I wanted, make what I wanted for dinner. It wasn't based off of what was happening that day. Because you get into a routine when you're involved in certain situations that you, or at least I did, I don't know if it's everybody, but you think you can fix people and you can't. And what I mean by that is my ex-husband is an alcoholic. And I thought I could fix him, and I couldn't, because those are his demons, not mine. So, like, I'd get up in the morning, and I would think of, like, how can I make him happy today? What can I do that'll make him happy today? All the way down to how, like, I cleaned the house, how I did my hair, how I did my makeup, what I did, what we had for dinner, how early the kids got to bed. Like, it was insane how much I was trying to, like, fix the situation that I couldn't even fucking control. Excuse my language. So, when I finally did get divorced, I was never going to get married again. I was never going to have children again. I was happy with the 2 that I had. And then my dad, God love him, of all people, was like, you need to date. And I was like, no, I don't. I so do not need to date. And, sorry, I was going to comment. I told him I didn't need to. So then he recommends a dating website, and don't judge by any means, but POF, Plenty of Fish. This was, 7 years ago. So that's what was the hot dating website at that time. So I made a profile, and I kept it very basic. And my husband, Ken, actually, that's how I met him. He messaged me, and I talked to him for about 6 weeks, and I kept ignoring him and trying to make him go away because we had the same last name. And he didn't give up. He was very relentless. God love him too. So finally I agreed to have lunch with him, and I literally told him my whole life story in like a 45-minute meeting. And I was very, like, he didn't get a word in edgewise, which is funny because I'm usually one of those people that until I get to know you, I'm very outgoing, but you put me in a new situation with people and I'm shy. I know that's surprising, right? So I go and meet him for lunch, and he didn't talk much because I wouldn't let him. and he showed up in his Chevy Colorado truck, and we met at Lone Star. He paid for lunch. He opened the doors. I was looking for a good old boy that I thought I was never going to find. He's very polite. Please, thank you. Kind and courteous, still is to this day. And then we walked out to our cars after lunch, and I never thought I was going to hear from him again. But he continued to talk to me, so I'm like, okay, whatever, like, I'll talk to you. And then we had a second date. And on the second date, he brought his pretty car. He had a Dodge Challenger. And he took me out to a really nice dinner. And he then again opened the doors. But the funny thing was, I wouldn't talk to him. I was so shy. I couldn't even get a word out. And he was like, who the hell is this person? Because this isn't the person that I went on the first date with. You wouldn't even let me talk. So there again, I didn't think I'd hear from him again. And now we've been together for 7 years. So who the hell knows, right? So I'm thinking seriously about going back dark with my hair. What are you guys' opinions? I think I'm going to go back to my, like, burgundy or brown or something. I don't know. I need a change. I get that way with my hair. It's all poofy today because I used the diffuser to see what the top would do because it's not curling, but the back's curling. So I wanted to see if I can make the curls come out, and boy, did I. Now it's just kind of fuzzy, but whatever. Oh, and now I'm talking for like 40 minutes and you're all still listening to me. But yeah, I wanted to come on and talk about things that people don't like to talk about, because somebody out there needs to talk about it. Somebody out there needs to hear it. It's gonna help somebody. Like, I know at least of 10 or 15 people, probably more, that I'm just not recollecting right now, that have went and got mammograms because I shared my story. To me, everything I do is worth it for that. If it gave them peace of mind, if they got to find out as soon as possible, it was totally worth it. And no matter what I do, I'm always going to have people that hate me. It's the world we live in. And I don't cry because I care about the haters. I cry because it's a frickin' emotion and I'm letting go of shit. So there's that. I don't know. I'm going to stop rambling as I always do. Didn't have technical difficulties tonight, but do me a favor. Reach out to somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Smile at somebody in the grocery store. Be polite. Not always polite. That is something I can say Shanann taught me. Not that I wasn't polite before Shanann. I was very much polite before Shanann. But I wasn't necessarily polite to Nicholas. I would ask Nicholas to do things, and I would tell him to do things, and I'd always say thank you after the fact, or please after the fact. And she very much helped instill that in me, to tell him thank you and how much I appreciate him. Because sometimes we forget to tell people that too, especially the ones that are the closest to us. Because we can be the biggest assholes to the ones that are closest to us too. Because we know they're always going to love us no matter what we do to them or say to them. So, tell you some of my favorite stories from Shanann. Oh, that'll have to be a different day. There's so many. But I am going to let you guys go and do something until I go to bed. I'll figure it out. I hope you all have a wonderful night. I hope that this helped somebody. I know it helped somebody. So, and you shouldn't judge another person until you can walk a mile in their shoes. And I can guarantee you there's not a lot of people that can want to even walk in my shoes. So, how do men find out if they have breast cancer? Same way. Men can go have a mammogram just like a woman can. and men can get breast cancer just like a woman can. Their cancer does not discriminate at all. So if you're a man watching, go get your tatas checked. Good night.